What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Sheehan Show here on Sherdog.com. My name is Sean Sheehan. I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by the legendary UFC, Bellator, welterweight, lightweight, Michael Chandler here as the at the launch of the Hiatus Tequila partnership with Michael. Michael, thank you very much for joining me today. First things first, tell us about this partnership with Hiatus Tequila. I watched the video you did with Hiatus. It looks really good, really exciting. Tell us about that.
Thanks, John. Thanks for having me, man. Yeah, tequila has been my drink of choice now for a very long time. And as I've continued to level up my taste buds and my ability to go out and try more tequilas, I have really grown accustomed to and been a little bit more romantic about a really agave forward tequila the way it was intended to be. So about a little over a year ago, a friend of mine introduced me to Hiatus, and he said, "Hey, you got to try this tequila. It's absolutely delicious." And I loved it so much, I bought a case, passed it around to a bunch of my friends. They all loved it. So I knew I wanted more. I wanted more of the juice. I actually wanted more of it on my shelf. But I also wanted more. I wanted to be more into it, and started doing my research. Reached out to Christopher DeSoto, our founder, and struck up a friendship with him. I knew after the first conversation I had with him, I just knew that we're so equally yoked. You know, if you followed me over the years, I am authentically myself. It's hard to pull me out of my, who I am, right? And I'm not the loudest, not the flashiest. I'm not the biggest trash talker. I'm not the guy that you or somebody else wants me to be at all the time. I am myself. And that's exactly what Chris DeSoto wanted for his tequila. He wanted it to be authentically true to what tequila is supposed to be. And he was gracious enough to let me invest in the company. So now I am now one of the owners and business partners with Chris DeSoto and Hiatus. And we're not going to stop until we're able to spread this message that tequila, the way it is supposed to be, is the way it's supposed to be.
Obviously, you've had a good bit of free time over the last while, having fought in 13 months. But was that part of it as well? You kind of knew that, obviously, we'll talk about Conor in a second, but you knew that you were kind of waiting for that fight. There's a lot of other people, Conor included, but The Rock and other people involved in sports and entertainment that have got involved with drinks, that have released drinks. Was that kind of an inspiration for you, for some of those people to do that and for you to get involved?
Yeah, I mean, Sean, some would say I've been on a hiatus for the last year. Hiatus. I loved, looking at the bottle and how beautiful it is and what hiatus means, a momentary pause, a break in the continuum. This is a break for me. This is a pause for me. I've had a year to really look inwardly, find myself more, who I am outside of just fighting, spending more time with my wife, my sons, getting back to the simple things in life and not just being so crazy training for a fight and leaving my family and training for a fight. Seeing what others have done in the spirits industry, and tequila being the fastest growing and one of the biggest sectors of the spirits market. But also just anecdotally, personally, I love tequila the most. It's my drink of choice. So it was just a natural fit. For me, I thought about starting my own tequila brand, standing up my own tequila brand. We went through names and we were going to go through flavor profiles and all of these different things. But the first moment that I spoke to Chris DeSoto, our founder, I just thought, man, this is why do something on my own when I can do it with people, right? That's what people have asked as well. How are you going to juggle building a Hiatus and building these other companies and doing all these other things outside of fighting and still fight? Well, you can't grow without people, without great people behind the things, the missions that you're doing. You're not going to get anywhere. So we got a great team, and I'm motivated because I truly believe in and I'm passionate about Hiatus, and it's my drink of choice whenever I kick back, relax, and actually take a hiatus of my own, over the last year, but then also, in between hard training sessions, kicking back and relaxing and just spending good time, good tequila with good people.
I'm looking forward to trying it. I'm a big tequila fan myself, so I'm looking forward to getting my hands on that and trying it. First things first, I'm here in Ireland. I don't know if you know or not, and I've been covering MMA for a good few years now, so I have to ask you the first question here about MMA related things. Is it Conor McGregor next? We all want to know it. Is that the fight you're still gunning for? Is that the one you want next?
It is Conor McGregor next. Yeah, I mean, that's the fight I want. That's the fight that is happening. I mean, obviously there's a ton of speculation. I mean, you being a fellow countryman and over there in Ireland, obviously he's the biggest star over there. He's one of the biggest stars in sports in general on the entire planet. So there's been so much speculation. Conor does one tweet and everybody tries to tear it apart and try to figure out what the subliminal message is. Coach Kavanaugh comes out and talks about July, and Conor's talking about possibly UFC 300. We talked about December. We talked about September back in the day, So there's been so much ups and downs. Conor calling out Gaethje for the BMF and calling out Adesanya and calling him out. We need to do it with Poirier and Diaz and all these other things. All of these things are just a bunch of hoopla and a bunch of smoke and mirrors. So it's crazy. I can't wait for you, especially, you guys in Ireland. I know you guys are chomping at the bit to hear this fight announcement. I'm excited for it for myself, my fans, my family. But we got to wait a little bit longer, but it's looking like we are heading in the right direction. Conor's out there training. He's posting training photos, videos, all that stuff. He looks like he's back to his ways, his old ways, the way that made Conor who he is. And that's living in the gym, being in the gym. And congratulations to him and Dee on their new baby boy, their fourth child, So obviously some big stuff happening in his world. And I can't wait till we get this fight announced.
When Conor starts tweeting, Poirier and bare knuckle boxing and all these other things, do you think he really means it? Or do you think it's kind of a ploy maybe to put you off, to kind of get you worried and things like that?
Hey man, listen, you probably know Conor and have followed Conor much more than I have, obviously being there in Ireland. He is a master manipulator and a master gamesmanship mindset guy, right? He loves to get in the head of opponents. He loves to get in the head of everybody out there, creating tiffs and little fights with so many different little people that he doesn't even need to. Part of it for promotion, part of it because I think he just loves this game. He loves the fight game, and he's romantic about it. And that's why I never bought the idea that Conor wasn't going to come back. Conor's going to come back. He loves his first love will always be the sport of mixed martial arts. He has everything that he has today because he was at first a mixed martial artist, right? So, I think he says things because you and me and everyone's going to speculate on what he's saying, right? Then you got so many people. I've never been a part of something that's so interesting, right? If I give Conor props and I show him respect, people are saying I'm begging for the red panty night. But then if I come at him a little bit, call him out a little bit, people will say I'm begging for the red panty night. Now we're talking about Hiatus Tequila. Of course, I got it in my own spirits brand because Conor had proper 12, So it's such an interesting thing, right? And it's fun. I'm having a blast with it. The last year has been a little bit of ups and a little bit of downs, a little bit of frustration here and there, waiting as long as I have, but there's been a lot of blessings that have come with it. Hiatus being one of them, as well as just my own mental sanity, man. It's been a lot of fun.
I suppose it hasn't been a complete hiatus over the last year. You had that stint on The Ultimate Fighter, obviously, and side by side with Conor. What did you learn about him with that? Because I feel like I speak to a lot of people, who've done documentaries with Conor, and maybe people who are closer to him and work alongside him have maybe a different outlook in terms of the work he puts in. I know a lot of people, don't maybe believe in that or whatever. For you, what was it like? Obviously he trained at different times and things, but you saw pieces of his coaching and his work ethic. What was your thoughts on him after that?
Well, see, I don't want to give him too many props because people are going to think I'm begging for that red panty night. But I'm going to be honest with you. I think Conor and I have a pretty darn respectful relationship, and we don't have to hate each other to want to go out there and put on a phenomenal show for you guys and the fans and the media and everybody, right? So I got a ton of respect for Conor, what he's accomplished. I believe Conor's got a pretty darn decent amount of respect for me. That 5-6 weeks that we spent there in Vegas, we were around each other a little bit. It never got too weird, and he didn't have to overblow himself all the time to try to be the tough guy that he sometimes plays on the camera, because Conor is very good when the cameras come on, and he's a little bit more normal when the cameras aren't on, right? But the passion he has for the sport, the passion he has for who he is, what he's created, the passion he has for life, you saw it in some of his coaching style. I think he took a little bit more flack than he should have for not showing up for being a coach and all that kind of stuff. He was there. He was at all the training sessions. I saw him. Yeah, he missed a couple weigh-ins. Yeah, he was late here and there, but we all had a ton of stuff going on. But I got even more respect for Conor after The Ultimate Fighter. And I know I'm going to get some flack from your fellow countrymen and also, some other people that I'm begging for the red panty night. But man, it's it's a sport in which, man, we don't have to hate each other to go out there and want to put on a dominant performance. And it was a fun experience, and you know, I would definitely do it again.
I suppose there's no point asking you about, is it going to be UFC 300 or is it going to be maybe this summer? I know Saudi Arabia is out there as well. It could be that down the line, and they just announced a partnership there. So I want to ask you just two quick things before we go. Firstly, about Bellator, like, you're the biggest Bellator star of all time, in my opinion. I'm sure a lot of other people's opinion as well. What was your take when Bellator was sold, was taken on by PFL, and is now a new company? And a lot of people kind of think maybe Bellator won't exist after a year or two. When you heard that, as someone who had a great love for the company and was the face of that company for a long time, what did you think?
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting. Obviously, there was a decent amount of little leaks that were being coming out, and there was a little bit of speculation there for a couple months. So I didn't know if it was going to go through, wasn't going to go through. But yeah, like you said, I cut my teeth and had a lot of fights in Bellator. I was the face of the promotion for a very long time. I loved the people behind Bellator, right? Just like we started off talking about Hiatus. I do love the tequila. I do love the taste. I do love the look. I love the product, but it's the people behind it. That's why I invested my resources. That's why I made an investment in the company. Bellator is the same thing, man. The people behind it, man. The people that I could name right now that you wouldn't even know who they are because they're behind the cameras or they're not in the headlines. Just great people behind the brand of Bellator, man. And the phone calls, the text messages, the messages that I got from people, and I also sent out, because it did seem like a little bit of a bittersweet moment. And I think hopefully it worked out for the Bellator people. Hopefully this merger / acquisition / whatever it is worked out good for all parties. I do think a rising tide raises all ships in mixed martial arts. So PFL acquiring Bellator and PFL now growing on their roster, and that is a good thing for the sport. So, man, it was bittersweet, and it was my time in Bellator was awesome. So we'll see how it all pays out. I'll be a fan of Bellator. A fan of a lot of those fighters that I train with, a couple of them in the PFL and in Bellator. So may the best come for all those guys. I appreciate it, Mike.
Last thing, I know we're very tight on time, but they call him Mystic Mac. I want a Mystic Mike here. We know you're going to fight. We don't know when. We know you're going to fight Conor McGregor. Give us the prediction, even in a sentence. How is that fight going to end?
Man, the Mystic Mike prediction, I stand firm on my prediction that I think I make him second guess himself in the first round, get him on his heels, get him real tired by the end of the first, break him at the end of the first, and then finish him in the second. I think I knock him out, devastating knockout in the second round, and it's going to be epic, man. It's going to be awesome. But I just can't wait to compete against him. My hat's off to him. I got a ton of respect for him, but I want to separate him from consciousness, and I can't wait to do it.
Well, best of luck in that. Thank you very much for joining me today, Michael, and I appreciate the time.
You got it, man. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate you, brother.
Lovely. Thank you.